What's going on, everybody? Excuse the bags under my eyes, but we have to talk about Bitcoin. We have to talk about Ethereum. There's suddenly speculation that the spot ETH ETFs are going to get approved. So we're going to talk about everything going on there. We also have some other news to get into, so let's talk about it. If you guys get some use out of this video, make sure you like, subscribe, ring the notification bell. Check out the links down below for some free stocks and cryptos, and let's go over what's going on today. And first off, we're going to start with this article that just came out an hour ago as of this upload, or an hour ago as of this recording, I should say. The title is "The SEC could begin approval process for the spot Ethereum ETFs tomorrow." And we've got some comments from a few Bloomberg analysts, Eric Balchunas and James Seifert. But Eric Balchunas basically mentioned that the SEC wants a revised Form 19B4 submitted by 10 a.m. Tuesday today, based on several comments received on Monday, for likely approval as soon as Wednesday. And James Seifert put the entrance here. You can see a few of them have tickers that they applied for. Now, while both of these analysts have increased the odds to 75% for the May 23rd deadline, which is Van Eck's deadline, the thing is we still need approval of the Form S1s, which are registration statements for spot Ether ETFs, and goes on to say it could be weeks to months before we see these S1 approvals and thus a live ETH ETF. So maybe the market's jumping the gun on potential approval. In my opinion, we will get approval eventually, regardless of if it's delayed or not. One thing to think about is what happened with the Bitcoin spot ETFs. What did we see there? Well, what happened is we saw a bit of hype leading up to the potential ETF approval. They were approved and we saw a bit of a sell the news event. Buy the rumor, sell the news. Now, if you got out on the buy the rumor, sell the news event and you didn't get back in, you surely missed out. Bitcoin went from the low 40s all the way to 70,000s. So just keep that in mind for a spot ETH ETF. You know, if you initially see a pullback, a buy the rumor, sell the news event, I wouldn't be too worried about it. We saw the same thing with Bitcoin. I would actually expect similar with Ethereum, an initial run up like we're seeing. Once it gets approved, you see a sell the news event. The market is front running the event. The market is already pricing it in. Once the event happens, you get some profit taking. But soon after, price comes back up. Soon after, price goes to new all-time highs. And since I have Bitcoin pulled up here, I'll just show you a couple levels on the chart and then we'll go back to Ethereum. But basically, we're still kind of following this ascending channel. We finally broke over our 50 MA after previously finding it as resistance. And that successful breakout brought us much higher, all the way to a test into the 70,000s before finding it as resistance. And it looks like we're starting to come down. Perhaps we come down and test our 50 MA down here at the 65,000 level. Also bounce off of this ascending support. Continue to play out this rising channel. I do think we are very, very close to seeing new all-time highs for Bitcoin. Perhaps a little cool down first before we get the juice we need to break out to new all-time highs. And similarly to Bitcoin, Ethereum was finding the 50 MA as resistance as well. We were also facing this descending resistance here. Once we broke out of both the 50 MA and this descending resistance, we did see a huge reaction. Obviously, this ran because of the spot ETH ETF potential approval, but this also ran because of the chart. You know, we saw a clear reaction of this descending resistance. We saw a clear reaction on the break of this 50 MA that was a resistance for quite a while. Market is reacting to a potential new pattern. ETH really doesn't need much more to see new 52-week highs. Now, there's a little bit of a misconception going around. People think that this is the all-time high. What we recently saw here this year, this is not the all-time high. This is the all-time high from last cycle, 2021. ETH nearly made it to 5,000 before tanking before crypto winter. Now, I want to tell you guys where I kind of think we are based on the 4-year cycle. Right now, we're in a halving year. Back in 2020 was the last halving year. During most of 2020, ETH was well under $1,000. It wasn't until the following year after the halving where Ethereum broke over $1,000 and nearly made it to 5,000. Now, while I do think this cycle is going a little faster than previous cycles, we saw all-time high before the halving. These spot ETFs brought a lot of bullish momentum. I do think this is going to cause a quicker cycle. And I've said before, I think we top out somewhere in the middle of 2025 the latest, but it might be earlier 2025. But where I think we are on both ETH and Bitcoin, if looking at the previous cycles, I'd say we're somewhere a little bit past the middle point, maybe somewhere around 2/3 of the run. And if I had to say where Ethereum is, Bitcoin is based on like last cycle, like where we are in that cycle, I'd say we're like early 2021. And I would argue that ETH has about a double up from here in my opinion, just based on where I think we are in the cycle. And I do think by the time it's all said and done, by the time we top out for Ethereum, sometime in mid 2025, maybe early 2025, I do think Ethereum will be somewhere around $7,000 to $8,000. Will we get to 10,000? Maybe. Am I going to hold everything and hope for 10,000? No. Am I going to hold everything and hope for 8,000? No. Am I going to start selling in late 2024 regardless of where Ethereum is? Yes. I think this is the way you need to kind of approach the halving cycle. Same with the Bitcoin miners. You need to look at it more on timeline, less on price. If you're dead set on a certain price and it doesn't get there, well, you're going to miss out on this whole run. You're going to hold all the way into crypto winter, and you're going to wish you at least took some profits. So just remember that, when things get to rallying, when things continue to rip, when we're at peak euphoria, when there's no end in sight, when everyone's saying, oh, Ethereum's easily going to get to 10,000, 15,000, maybe 20,000 this cycle, that's probably the time to start, taking some profits, start planning for the potential inevitable crypto winter. We also have some recent articles saying that basically this consolidation period is at its end. I gotta say, I agree. And I want to show you guys M2 is expanding. And while companies and individuals are more hesitant to spend, this increase in circulating money hints at rising inflationary pressures. Also, here's something very interesting. Exchange reserves hit a 7-year low, lower than the last cycle. Exchange Bitcoin reserves have plummeted to a 7-year low, showing only less than 2 million Bitcoin available on major trading platforms, which is a significant decrease from the previous year and a decrease from the previous cycle as well. So in the last cycle, in 2021, when Bitcoin nearly reached 70,000, Bitcoin reserve on exchanges is lower than that point. I also want to talk about the CEO change at Grayscale. Michael Sonnenschein is leaving the company, and on announcement of this departure, GBTC surged 4.47%. There's a signal that investors are optimistic about this CEO change. And Peter Mintzberg, who's currently at Goldman Sachs, will become the new CEO. Perhaps this guy will be more of a fan of lowering them fees. Things have definitely been looking a lot better for Bitcoin, Ethereum, the Bitcoin miners. While today, for the most part, is somewhat of a cool down day, no big surprise. Like I've been telling you guys, these are the last few innings where I'm a buyer. Soon these Bitcoin miners will get to prices that I won't be comfortable adding at. And just like in the last bull market, soon I'm going to get these comments left and right. Is it too late to buy? So don't be one of the people asking that question in the peak of the bull run. Take advantage now. Always do your own research, but I gotta say, take advantage now. Don't ask down the road when these Bitcoin miners are at crazy prices. Is it too late to buy? Did I miss out? To me, these are the last chances to be a buyer of these Bitcoin miners. When they go much higher in price, they will be much less attractive, and I will be more on the side of selling. But let me know your strategy. How much longer do you see yourself buying the Bitcoin miners? Are you done now? And what cryptos are you buying? Are you taking advantage of altcoins? I do think we're at the end of being buyers there as well. The next few pullbacks will be the last buying opportunities. So in my opinion, you got to jump on them. The higher prices go, the higher risk becomes. So hopefully you guys took advantage of the bear market. Hopefully you guys took advantage of 2022, 2023, and part of this 2024. And how do you feel about potential spot ETH approval? Do you think it's going to happen? Do you think it will get delayed? Thanks as always for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.